It's me, Emil Amok, Emil Guillermo, Emil Amok to you. Welcome to my Takeout, my Emil Amok's Takeout. My takes on all things considerable. And really, there's just one thing today, right? This is the day that we honor Indigenous peoples. I got my Native American, my Indigenous persons T-shirt up here in my COVID closet. I can see it's got Chief Joseph, Red Cloud, Geronimo, Crazy Horse, and Sitting Bull at the top. It's visible here on the screen, but it's all five of them, and we honor them today. I know some friends said, "Hey, they went to a parade." They oh, I forgot to ask, did they go to the Columbus Day parade? Because that's what some people are celebrating. They should. It's a national holiday, and that's one of the things about Columbus Day and Indigenous person. It's a federal holiday, but there's a split. And it's kind of funny because it's a holiday divide. The second Monday in October, different states observe different things, and you've got some states recognizing Indigenous Peoples Day, some states observing Columbus Day, or both, or neither. And if you look at the map, it's just pretty astonishing. And then some people don't do anything. They don't do anything. They say, now this is the map that was showcased on Axios. I mean, look at that. I mean, wherever indigenous people like Arizona, Utah, and then throughout the Indian nations or the states where Indians were prominent, the Indians were everywhere, right? We had natives here in California, the Ohlone in San Francisco, the Wokut, I believe, Indians in the Central Valley. I mean, all throughout. I mean, there are indigenous lands in California. That's why they have all the casinos. But look at that map, and you see there's some that have both are green, and very few boths, and a lot just don't do anything. A federal holiday, but no state holiday. And so Axios says the divide is more than symbolic. It excavates deep-rooted tensions over the nation's identity and history. And, I mean, you think about it, you can say that. But how are you celebrating today? Or are you celebrating? How are you honoring the indigenous today? I'd say it's one thing or the other. I think as opposed to having a two-headed second Monday of October, I'm sorry, Columbus, you got it wrong anyway, right? It's not disrespectful to the Italian American heritage, but you can have another day and you can celebrate Italian American heritage on pick a day, just not on Columbus Day, because Columbus is not the one you want to honor in terms of Italian American heritage. What's Martin Scorsese's birthday? What's Frank Sinatra's birthday? That's a good one. I think today, in honor of Native Americans, we should have a pizza fast. Don't eat pizza. Not today. I mean, you can eat pizza any other day. Have a pizza fast. Of course, that would include vegans, because you can have vegan pizza. But you think about this, no one's really thinking about what to do about this divide. No one's thinking about No one's even thinking about how it matters. I mean, how can you celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day and Columbus Day in the same breath? That's like saying, "Hey, all you Catholics, uh, once the mass is finished, you can go to the back, and we're going to have a devil worship." It's almost like, really, don't you think? You can't celebrate the two at once. And if you do, like some people have both. Hey, free speech, right? You want to celebrate Columbus, you can go ahead, but maybe not on the same day as Indigenous Peoples Day. And so where it's split, uh, I just think, I mean, there are two states that do both, right? And I can't identify them just by looking. I think that's Nebraska. And how can you do both? So, let me see. I think that is Nebraska. I was right. It is Nebraska. Nebraska does both, and so does Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania does both, which is really weird. And because I guess you're going to see that exemplified in the election, right? Because honestly, can you really celebrate Indigenous people on the one hand and then Columbus? Now, I'm sure Pennsylvania, you had the Italians. They're saying, "Hey, you can't bring down Columbus." No, but we can celebrate Italian heritage. We can, maybe I know I can't think of anything right now. Maybe a day you can eat pizza. There's got to be a pizza day. I'm sure there's a pizza day. But I think the only sound thing to do right now is to say, we're going to, on Indigenous Persons Day, not only will we have our corn, celebrate maize, and, celebrate native foods, fry bread. I know fry bread is the thing they eat, which is kind of like it's dough that's fried. Fry bread. It's kind of like a donut. But, I'm sure that as we honor the Indigenous people today, we just have a pizza fast. A pizza fast. You like that idea? Raise your hand if you like a pizza fast. But you look at this and let's see, the states with the largest Indigenous share of the population are Alaska, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and South Dakota. And let's see, California, where I am, 3.3% of the overall population. That's actually greater than where we are nationwide, right? You got 3.3 California. That's, I believe that's 3 times more. And then let's see, a lot of states about 3%, 2% Utah, 6%, 6.2% of the overall population. Arizona, Colorado, 3.5. New Mexico, 12% of the population. Now they know you don't honor both, right? Texas, 2.6, Oklahoma, 14.3, Kansas, 3.2%. Nebraska, where they honor both, it's only 2.6%. American Indians, Alaska Natives. And then Pennsylvania, which, is funny why they would honor both. Well, it must be the Italian American population there because the American Indians, are only 1.3% of the overall population. So, an interesting to think about when you consider this day of dual holidays, a holiday divide. And like I said, you might say it's insignificant, But if you stop to think about it, there are still some things that we need to address in terms of Native Americans, and things we need to address in terms of how we see ourselves as a nation, and how we deal with our history. I mean, I have a t-shirt behind me that features 5 great Native Americans. Sitting Bull, Chief Joseph, Red Cloud, Geronimo, and Crazy Horse. And how many people can say 30 seconds about each? That's how bankrupt American history is. We don't even know enough about our Native Americans and what happened to them, and how their land was taken from them, how they were forced into reservations, the whole Trail of Tears story. How many people really, know to say that? Thank goodness Martin Scorsese, did his movie that came out last year, and put it in people's consciousness, at least for the year. And we have one day where we honor, or we remember, Native Americans. And what do we do? Well, we have some states, Pennsylvania, Nebraska, like I said, that honor both Columbus and Indigenous people, which doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. So we honor the Indigenous people on this show, Emil Takeout, and as I said, I'm going to start the first national pizza fast. If you're going to have a meal on Indigenous Persons Day, eat anything you want. I'm not even going to press my vegan values on you. Eat anything you want, but just don't have pizza. It's a vegan fast to let Columbus know how we feel about him. Oh, we can also have a salami fast, since I know Columbus. I know a lot of brands that use his face, and they put it on a salami. But I don't want to single out the salamis. Just the pizzas. Pizza fast today. Pizza fast on Indigenous Peoples Day. Okay, so a lot in the news, actually. AP, our show is subtitled, "What Does an Asian American Think?" And this is a new poll by AP Norc and the AAPI data poll. Most AAPI adults think legal immigrants give the U.S. a major economic boost. Now that's, you would think, oh yeah, we know that. But now you have data. Now you can say, hey, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander adults are more likely than the overall U.S. population to view legal immigration as an asset to the country's economy and workforce, according to a new poll. I mean, this is really the value of polls, right? Especially when they're able to drill down and get a nice sampling of Asian Americans. And then you can say with some certainty how certain people feel about ideas. Like, how do you feel about immigrants? You might say, oh, Asian Americans, of course. They love immigrants. Asian Americans are, because most of them are immigrants, 60% of our community. But now we have this poll. When it comes to the risk posed by illegal immigration, here's the thing. I didn't read the whole thing. We are more likely, Asian Americans, more likely than the overall U.S. population to view legal immigration as an asset. But, we're the minority, right? So when it comes to the risk posed by illegal immigration, our views are similar to those overall. So that's still a difference. We're the same as most people when it comes to illegal immigration, and who wouldn't? I don't think anyone is for illegal immigration. I mean, the law's the law, right? And if someone breaks the law, there should be a way to rectify what one has done and allow them a pathway to citizenship, I believe. But the real point of the poll is to say Asian Americans are more likely on legal immigration, more likely than anyone else to say, yeah, there's something valuable. Legal immigration is an asset. Because you know what happens when you start going after the so-called illegal immigration. Well, there is that. They're not calling people illegal. That's the faux pas. If you call the people who break the laws illegal, no. There's legal immigration and illegal immigration, and the immigrants who do whatever within are still immigrants, but one is legal and the others are lawbreakers. So we don't denigrate people as illegal people, as some people are fond of saying. Oh, there's some illegal immigrants. Oh, there's some, no, they're documented or undocumented. So when it comes to illegal immigration, our views are similar to most people. About 8 in 10 AAPI adults say legal immigration to the U.S. is a major benefit contributing to the economic growth of our country. And that's according to this AAPI data and AP NORC Center poll. Now, you ask most Americans, and it's just 4 in 10 feel that immigration is, contributes a major benefit to our society. That's amazing. Asian Americans, 8 in 10. Everyone else, 4 in 10. Wow, it's like double. Immigrants are double. Asian American are double the number of normal people. When you ask them about immigration, yeah, we believe in immigration. We believe in legal immigration. And that's because 60% of us came here that way, through immigration. We are a benefit, of course. We are the living example of immigration. Of course, we're going to be 8 in 10 saying that legal immigration is a major benefit. But isn't it a surprise that only 4 in 10 Americans overall feel the same way about immigration? It makes it sound like a lot of Americans would rather put a cloth, a shroud over the Statue of Liberty, and cut her off at the ankles and pack her off and send her back to France or wherever she came from. I think it's sad. It's sad to read this. The polling results come as former President Donald Trump, with less than a month until Election Day, continues to focus on the threat of immigration in his presidential campaign against Vice President Kamala Harris. The Republican recently falsely claimed that the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, had no money to help Hurricane Helene survivors because it was spent on programs for undocumented immigrants. Trump lie, right? During the presidential debate last month, Trump amplified a false rumor that Haitians living legally in Springfield, Ohio, were eating people's pets. And of course, the debunked claims led to bomb threats to schools and government buildings. So, what can we derive from these facts? It shows that Asian Americans are really super for immigration, are different from where the mainstream is. And if you're an Asian American, you should fear the election of a man who would use anti-immigrant hate to try to arouse support, because we are talking about a slippery slope here. You go after illegal immigration, And guess what else is on the chopping block? All immigration, period. I don't think I'm taking a huge leap there. But as soon as you start using lies to go after illegal immigration and you start clamping down on illegal immigration, all immigration is going to be threatened. Look at the history. We had something very similar to what is going down now in 1924 with the most racist immigration policy that put quotas on immigration from everywhere else, and the Asian quota was 0. 1924. And look how long it took for society, through legislation, to change that law, to get rid of the corrupt or the racist anti-immigration quotas. From 1924 to 1965. So you think this is just going to stop with illegal immigration? A sentiment to clamp down on illegal immigration, arrest undocumented peoples, put them in camps. You think it's going to stop there? It's not going to stop there. There's going to be a push for further clamps on all immigration. And you're going to look back at the election, November 5th, 2024, and say, God, I should have voted. I should have told my friends to vote. I should have registered. There's still some time to register to vote, In California, you can register up to voting day. I mean, the deadline to register and be free and clear, and you can vote by mail or vote online or vote in person, is October 21st. That's a week from today. A week from today in California. And then you still have until November 5th, the day of, to register provisionally and vote provisionally, get all the paperwork done, because we're not going to deny you to vote in California. One of the reasons why being in California is, well, this is why California is California. And this is why those of us in California don't live in Utah, say. I'm just picking a state off the top of my head. Or Texas. Better. We live in California instead of Texas, instead of Florida, because you can register to vote right up to the day of the election. November 5th, it's provisional, but then it's counted afterwards. But if you want to stay free and clear, October 21st, that's our day in California. So this news story is kind of important because, number one, it is real data. I mean, a lot of, you notice in some polls, they can't tell you what Asian Americans think. I mean, this is a show that's called WDAAT. What does an Asian American think? They can't tell you what an Asian American thinks because they don't sample enough. In polls, the margin of error is too high. But in these targeted polls where they have a decent sample size, they can say with certainty, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander adults are more likely than the overall U.S. population to view legal immigration as an asset. How much? 8 in 10 AAPI adults say legal immigration to the U.S. is a major benefit, compared to only 4 in 10 of Americans. Wow. So if you're in a group of whites and Latinos and, a mixed group, and you're Asian, know that 8 in 10 of Asians think immigration major benefit. But if you're in a general group of people, think 4 in 10, almost half of the people there look at you and wonder if you should even be there. They're wondering about the benefit of immigration. This is legal immigration. Legal immigration. Now, the poll showed that when it comes to illegal immigration, we're in line with most people. Asian Americans are in line with most, but it's the legal immigration. That's the point. That's what we got to make sure we understand. The legal immigration is what people are upset with. Only 4 in 10 of Americans think legal immigration is a major benefit. But of course, 8 in 10 Asian Americans, AIs, think, yeah, we love immigration. That gives you something to think about. Now, what happens if the wrong person gets elected on November 5th? I mean, right now, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are sort of, I mean, Kamala Harris is not a radical when it comes to immigration. She's not. She's more moderate, and she's a lot more, let's fix it. Let's go for this bipartisan bill, the bill that Donald Trump killed or had killed because he wanted something to run on. And what does Donald Trump say? Donald Trump says, deport the illegals. Round them up. Let's have these camps. Project 2025. That's a scary thing. That's the scary thing. But I'll say it's really amazing to think that Asian Americans, we're high when it comes to immigrants. Legal immigration, we love it. We love it. That's an important story today. Now let's see, another important story. Trump's protest aside, his agenda has plenty of overlap with Project 2025. I mention that because Stop AAPI Hate did a big takeout about how real is Project 2025 and should we be scared? If you listen to some past shows, you know that when it comes to Project 2025, AANHPIs are, we're on the front lines. If there's any suspicion that there's undocumented people in your household or in your workplace, ICE can go in without a warrant. They can go in without a court order. They can just have a suspicion that maybe something's going on in your workplace or in your home, or that there's a presence of undocumented, and they'll go and round you up, and they'll put you in camps. They're ready to put as many as 100,000 people in camps. This is it's in Project 2025. Stop AAPI Hate, the organization that was formed after the pandemic. The pandemic resulted in numerous transgressions, hate crimes against Asian Americans. Well, they got a lot of money to do some further work. And one of the things they've done within the last few months is say, what is this Project 2025 and how are Asian Americans, how are we susceptible to the things in Project 2025? And they pointed it out. Here it is, chapter and verse. It says they're going to do this. ICE is going to be empowered to go in anywhere without a court order, they'll go if they have a suspicion. Also, it weakens the power of sanctuary cities to have sanctuary for people. If you relied on being in a sanctuary city, no more. Oh, there are other things in 2025 too about DACA, Forget about DACA. And so the story today, released by the AP, says the headline, Trump's protests aside, saying, hey, Project 2025, not my idea. Well, it wasn't his idea, but it probably will be his agenda. AP says his agenda has plenty of overlap with Project 2025, something you got to watch out for. If you're using Project 2025 as a reason to vote for X or Y, so AP story today. The campaign is going strong as always. Less than 30 days now. Kamala Harris in Pennsylvania, really trying to shore up the black vote, especially the black men peeling off. She's going to be speaking to Charlemagne the God tomorrow. Charlemagne the God. And, you know, I'm wondering if black men aren't just toying. If black men aren't just toying with voting for Trump, if they really intend to vote for Trump, or if they're just toying with the idea. And you saw what Obama said the other day. He said, it's not a sign of strength that you're like cutting the ties to the Democratic Party and, you know, testing out whether or not, you know, you can vote Republican. Can you vote Republican after what this guy, Donald Trump, how he set his sights for people like you? And he was scolding as he talked to the press last week, and it made some people uncomfortable. Say, hey, calm down, Obama. You know, you may be alienating people because they don't want to be told what to do from anybody. That's kind of the message I get. I tell the story about how I was in a lift in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago. Someone had come in before me and had a whole handful of Obama yard signs and left one. And I thought it belonged to the driver. When I got into the car, I thought, oh, here's someone who really is into it. Because I wasn't finding people who are into the election. I mean, if you go to where the press is and where the press goes, yeah, they're going to report, oh, people are here, they're rallying. But in general, I wasn't noticing that in Las Vegas. And it was beginning to bother me because it made me wonder about the magnified sense of the election reported by the news when most people are kind of like, election? I mean, and just think, this is with Harris. They were probably, when it was Trump and Biden, it was worse. This is an improvement to have people saying, oh, yeah, the election. Before they were saying, oh, yeah, the election. So, anyway, I told the driver, the Lyft driver, black Lyft driver, he reached back, picked up the sign, ripped it up. God. And he said, a lot of people just don't care. And this is kind of the residual of all these years of Donald Trump. He's made us question. He's made us doubt everything about the government, everything about politics. It's gotten to the point where people just don't care and they just want it done and they're not excited or enthused. They're not involved. And thank goodness this week, Kamala Harris is trying to do something to get people involved. She's coming out with an agenda for black men, economic opportunity. it's funny because the people who are critical of Obama were saying Obama was showing how, Obama was scolding, but black men, and sure there are some, rappers who are toying with the idea of voting for Trump, but the sense was black men are tired of being taken for granted, by the political establishment. And I think that's the point. If the political establishment did not take for granted the black vote, because right now, right, people are saying, oh, wow, the Democrats used to get 80, 90, 100%. Well, not 100, but, close to 95% of the black vote before. Now they're down to like, 78, 60% of the black vote? Maybe not that far down, but more like in the 70s, high 80s or low 80s. And it's due to black men peeling off, saying, hey, we want to check out this Donald Trump. We want to check out this bad boy. Is he really as bad as he says he is? And I think it's not necessarily misogyny. It's more like, if you're transactional, tell me what's in it for me. Tell me what you got. And I think this week Kamala Harris is going to tell people what she's got for black men. Economic opportunity, the whole opportunity. She wants an opportunity economy, she called it. With some tax breaks and some, entrepreneurial things. This is, we're into the, crunch time now with less than 30 days. And clearly, Pennsylvania is important. And clearly, in this close election, where black males, Latino males, where they are, can make a difference. Because if they're peeling off, and it's just a few thousand voters that make the difference, you'll be wondering, oh, God, why weren't they doing this all throughout? Why didn't they try to solidify the black male vote, the Latino male vote? Well, they're doing it now. We're trying. I don't know what's going to happen. The Asian vote seems locked in. It seems like it's not going to move. I don't know if it's going to move much more. It's like 60, 40, maybe 65, 35. Harris, Trump. There's a lot of Trumpers among Asian Americans. And, which is fine. But that attitude about immigration that's shown by Trump, if the Asian American attitude toward immigration, legal immigration, is 80%, would that be enough to persuade the conservative Asians who are pro-Trumpers? So we're going to see some strategical things happen in these next 3 weeks to try to get to, the electorate right now is 40% on both sides, Trump, Harris, with maybe 5% going to an independent, Cornel West, say. But there's 13% who could be persuaded, 13% who are either for Harris, for Trump, but could be persuaded. I think that's about 8%. So leaving another 5% saying they're not sure. So we're going to see the campaigns identifying the people they want. Clearly, they want black males. They want Latino males. Clearly, they want Pennsylvania. If you get Pennsylvania, that kind of unlocks the electoral college and gives the winner a preferred pathway to victory. So let's see. Let's see. I think you're trying to convince people, or the few who can be convinced, because a lot are already locked in, or they already have such a jaundiced view of the whole process that you bring it up and you tend to alienate. But that's where we are. Yeah, I went to a comedy club last night. I was surprised because, one comic said, "Hey, the election's coming up," and everyone had this dread. Like, are you kidding me? I mean, it wasn't like this enthusiastic. Oh, we got 3 weeks to go. In some ways, I think the media is to blame for showing too much of the pump up and not enough of the placid water, where people are just saying, "Oh man, just let's get it over with." And it's not going to be over November 5th. It's going to keep going until they count the votes and certify the vote in January. But yeah, I think a lot of people are done, except because it makes everything the strategy hard in terms of how do you get the people who are persuadable, or the people who are for you, to vote, because you got to get them out. You got to turn them out. And you turn people out Trump knows this. You use fear, you use race. They're coming for your jobs. They're coming for you. Oh, that's sort of double edged. They're coming for you. That should work with people of color. Because Donald Trump said yesterday he's coming for left-wing radicals. He's coming for the immigrants. He's coming for the bad genes. That is something that should strike fear in all. And if it does strike fear in all on both sides, that actually is a good thing, because then you'll see people maybe answering the call. More people, record numbers of people voting. Because why is it that at best you've got a minority of Americans voting? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that way. Clearly less than 50% of the population votes. And as big as an election as this is, it's all going to be turnout. And as my friend Daniel Phil Gonzalez said on our Friday show, we're not going to convince people on either side. You're not going to convince them with facts or data. The only way you're going to prevail, not with facts, not with data, the only way you're going to prevail is if you see the big obstacle in front of you, people saying the negative of everything you're saying, and go around them. You got to go around. How do you go around them? More people voting, more people registering, more people voting, more people registering. You got to flood them. You got to flood. Well, I don't want to use that unfortunate term, but really, if you have more people with that sentiment that, yeah, we got it. I mean, you don't persuade the other side. You overwhelm them. And then you beat them. Got to overwhelm them. You got to Strength in numbers is what it is, right? Strength in numbers. So let's see. Anything else? I really like this idea of a pizza fast. We need a pizza fast because we shouldn't have Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples Day happening on the same day. And some are celebrating both, but I really think that, I mean, the Italian Americans, they can have their own day when they celebrate all the great Italians. Tommy Lasorda, Madonna, Martin Scorsese, Sylvester Stallone. I mean, all the great Italians. The historical Italians too, but all the great ones. They can have their own day. Find out when Sylvester Stallone's birthday is. Celebrate him. But Columbus, wrong guy. Wrong guy. He's already been exposed. And so we're not showing any sign of disrespect, but we're just saying this is the Native Americans Day. This is the Indian Americans Day, or American Indians Day. And we honor them. Pizza Fast 2024. All right, so that's it for our program. Hey, we're going to keep them short. We do this sort of like a radio program, where you can do anything you want. You can drive, you can have in the background. So there's Emil, he's talking. Oh, and commercial free. And we're going to put this out. This one's going to be on YouTube. I'll put it out. But starting on Wednesday, all the audio we do will be put on Patreon. And you can find us on patreon.com/Emil Amok. All the columns will be there too. And so you'll get our daily little shout outs to you. Plus, our takes on the news. And they're all out there on patreon.com/Emil Amok. I'll put a little teaser on YouTube, and that's about it. And I got to figure out how to do that. But it's going to get done. And hopefully you'll join us on the other side. And I was telling a friend, I just want to get out of the algorithm, which may or may not let you see what I put on Facebook, may or may not let you see what I put on Twitter, may or may not let you see on YouTube even. But if I say, hey, if you want it, I'm on Patreon, go get it. I mean, it's not free, but you help support the program. It's advertising free. And I give you a lot of benefits. I put everything I do there. And you can partake. So if you want to be, I don't want to call you a fan, but if you want to be a supporter, if you want to be a member of the community, come join me at patreon.com/Emil Amok. All right. So, I do laughter yoga, and I think it's appropriate that today, for Indigenous Peoples Day, I think we should do 1 minute of laughter for Indigenous Peoples Day. And once again, just so you know, laughter yoga was invented by Dr. Madan Katarian in Mumbai, 1995. He had 6 people in a park. Said, hey, let's just laugh because, laughter just makes us feel good. And they started telling jokes to each other. And then that got kind of raunchy because, they were running out of jokes, for one. And number 2, they realized, hey, I want to laugh, but you're not telling me anything funny. Yeah, so but we can laugh. We can always just laugh, not involuntarily, like, you tell a joke and we laugh, we give it up. We can voluntarily laugh and give it up. And and laugh for as long as we want and feel good. And that's better than real laughter. I mean, because the oxygenation takes place, the belly laughs from your diaphragm, the air gets pushed up, clears out your lungs, out it comes when you exhale. The air oxygenates in your brain, and oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, everything goes and works, and you feel good, you feel energized. That's laughter yoga. And like I said, I studied with Dr. Katarian. I am a certified laughter yogi. I am. So a minute. And you start by breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then let's try to do this for a minute. You can stop and start, but continuously. 1 minute for Indigenous Peoples Day. And we start by saying, "Hello." "30 seconds." See, 103. I'm telling you, it works. Get the diaphragm breathing going, a belly laugh. You got to remember to breathe. But 1 minute for Indigenous Peoples Day, and it just gets you feeling good. Now, you do that, you stop and start, try to do that another 3 or 4 times. You're good. You're good. Laughter yoga. I believe in it. I believe in it. All right, that's it for our show today. We like to end with a little cool down meditation, or just think about putting love out to the world. And so, a little loving kindness, it's always a good meditation, a little metta. As I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Emil Guillermo here. Patreon.com/Emil Amok. It's coming.